Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia to share another contemplative focus with you today. And the focus that I want to share with you today is breathe and be blissful. A clear mind is a truthful mind free of limiting illusory beliefs made possible through daily meditation and living a holistic lifestyle. Thus, the title, Breathe and Be Blissful. When we meditate, we focus on our breath, and that entrains our mind and controls our mind and stops the wandering storytelling that it's so wont to do. So, illusory beliefs are lies and create conflict, limitation, and suffering. Wakefulness holds the mind in check and maintains truthful clarity. It interrupts egoic attachment and eliminates illusory beliefs. With less mental distortion, we more clearly experience true reality as self-delighting, blissful consciousness. A non-wakeful mind, then, is the cause of all our problems and resultant suffering. So, that's the focus for today, and I had an opportunity to experience the value of meditation and holistic lifestyle this very morning when I found out my cook couldn't come in because she's sick. And that means that, well, normally she would be up at the kitchen as I'm giving this live stream to start preparing for today's lunch. I could go anywhere with that story. I could get upset, I could get angry, I could say, oh my God, I have to cancel this live stream and on and on and on, but instead I resort to my own focus that I have every day here, that no matter what happens, it's always something that's appropriate and it's always something that is meant to be. So I'm here, I can do what I have to do to get this done, and so without interrupting other people, without creating a big fuss, without screaming and fussing and hollering and whatnot, I just notified my manager and said, okay, I'll be up there to get lunch ready as soon as I'm done with this live stream. That's all. So that's just one example that I experienced myself this morning. I thought how appropriate that I could talk about this on the one hand and then have the experience of experiencing blissful consciousness in the midst of a great opportunity to freak out and get all upset about something, huh? So, anyway, this is basically what I see a lot of times in my own experience here, and I see it in other people who live here who constantly meditate all the time. Sure, there's processing. We all have power processes, and we're all peaked sometimes, but that's normal, and that's something that we're all accustomed to, and we understand what that is, and we generally are pretty good about not dumping any of that on somebody else or projecting it outward. And I guess I could point out some other examples. You know, if you look at the state of the world that we know today here in the USA, and what it's going through in terms of how fragmented it is and how much conflict is being generated in the world today because of all the stories that are going around and the resultant hatefulness between groups of people. And it's just amazing to watch because you understand that all these people who are here in this world today to journey what they're journeying as part of their evolutionary process, because it's a perfect time for people who are in their evolutionary cycle of spiritual evolution to reach a peak in their experience of being unconscious, in their experience of being separate and an individual human being and nothing more. When they finally reach that point, then the shift begins for them and they start to find meditation happening in their lives, and a teacher will show up for them and they're on their way. So it may look terrible, but in truth it's just consciousness evolving itself in terms of maintaining its primary intention with all of this creation to simply be fully itself. And to be fully itself, all the created forms of itself must be experiencing blissful consciousness as well. Then the unity is manifest within manifest reality instead of seemingly being absent, which in truth it never is. So that's the play, and that's what we're in today. And with all the media that we have available to us today, it's in our face every day, so we have a perfect opportunity to look at what life is like when you don't meditate, what life is like when your stories are the reality that you know and that you go with, and how much suffering there is as a result. There can be physical suffering from the wars and people hurting each other. There's definitely mental, psychological suffering and emotional suffering just from the stress created from your limited experience of being separate from and in conflict with the other. So, breathe and be blissful is a great thing for people to do if they're ready to do it. But if they're not, they're not. And that's perfectly okay, because they're here to journey whatever it is that they are journeying. So that's why we don't beat the bushes and scream on media about people should meditate and so forth and so on, because through all the years of meditation that I have experienced being here at Synchronicity Foundation, I know very well that when people are not ready to meditate, they won't. And they can't. It's not supposed to. So trying to push people into meditation does not work. It just pushes them away in the long run. But when they are ready to meditate, when their evolutionary process is at that point where it's time for them to meditate, they will invariably find someone, someplace, somewhere that fits them, and they will start to meditate, and they will start to create more balance within themselves and to journey the journey of blissful consciousness as much as they can. So everything is happening as it should. There is nothing wrong with anything. It's okay that my cook's sick today, because I'm perfectly capable of going up and taking care of things up in the kitchen today myself. And I could make all kinds of stories about, I was going to go to this meeting, I was going to go do this, I was going to do that, and now I can't, and I could just get all upset and create that kind of stress within myself, but I know better. So I just flow with it as I can, and I'm sure it will come out just right for us all, as it always does. So breathe and be blissful is something more than just a nice saying. It's a nice practice. It's a practice that we should all do every day as much as we can, because the more you focus on your center, the more you create balance within yourself as you go through your day, the more blissful you'll be, and the more focused